I've intentionally included a Microsoft Word document here because so many of us move content from Word into Dreamweaver, and that opens up a whole set of challenges. But I've also included a file called text to copy in case you don't have Word and you want to be able to use this text. I've got Word already open in the background with this text to copy file, so I'm going to use Alt-Tab just to switch over to Microsoft Word where I already have this open. If you have Word on your computer, I recommend that you launch Word and open that file in Word so you can follow along with what I'm doing here. I have two collections of text, each with a headline. I'm going to highlight the first short story and copy it. To copy from Word, I'm just using a standard Control-C. If you're on a Mac, Command-C. Alt-Tab back over to Dreamweaver. And now I'm going to select and delete this holder text. And I'm going to choose Edit Paste Special. Dreamweaver added this in the last version so that you could choose how much of the formatting from Microsoft Word or any other editor you might be bringing text in from you wanted to preserve. Let's start by using the highest level option here. So we're going to save all the formatting we possibly can. If I click OK, you see that content gets pasted into my design area. And if I scroll up here in the code view, I want you to notice something here, this class MSO normal. If you've ever wondered what MSO normal was and seen it in any of your web pages, that's a style that Dreamweaver automatically creates when you bring in content from Word and try to preserve all of the formatting. MSO normal stands for Microsoft Office Normal. And if you look in your CSS panel, you'll see that it's also added the style MSO normal. Now, you may like that very well because it preserves the formatting. I prefer to have more control over my styles and know exactly what each style is doing. I also prefer not to have this much styling in line. There are three different places you can save styles when you work with CSS. You can save them in an external style sheet, which we'll look at more in a moment. You can save them internally in the page, which we did in the previous lesson, where all of the styles were saved at the top of the page. Or you can save those styles in line. And that's what this is here. This is an inline style, meaning that the style is preserved in line with the text itself. Of the three options, internal, external, and inline, the inline style is the most restrictive option, or the most limiting option, because it can only be used in this place, and if you try to make global changes later, they have to be changed in this place. That also causes a heavier page load than if all your styles are in one clean external style sheet. So for all those reasons, I don't really like the way content comes in and is styled if you paste it in from Word and preserve all of the styling. But I wanted you to see what happens if you just use copy and paste without paying attention. So I'm going to undo all that, and notice that when I did, all that content disappeared, all that styling disappeared, and the MSO CSS style disappeared from here as well. Let's switch back over to Word again, make sure we've copied this text, switch back to Dreamweaver, and this time let's paste special and just preserve the structure, which is my preference when I'm working with content from Word. What this does is it preserves all of the P tags, all of the line breaks that I had. So if I have a paragraph return, that doesn't get lost. If you choose just plain text, you won't even get the paragraph returns, and then I have to go and put them back. So I find that second option is really ideal. So let's go get our sidebar. Again, just copy this text, switch back over to Dreamweaver. And we can just replace this content placeholder, edit, paste special, choose text with structure. Here's another thing to notice. Once you've made that selection, Dreamweaver will remember it. And you've got a shortcut to preferences. So if you set this as your preference, then when you use Command-V or Control-V, Dreamweaver will automatically choose whichever of these four options you've set in preferences. So from now on, I can use Control-V and get my favorite choice from the Paste Special list. Now that we have the text in place, let's go ahead and go back to Design View, and let's format these headlines. Since this is the most important headline on the page, I'm going to style it with an H1 tag. Next on the list would be this one, and I'll use an H2 for this one. Formatting headlines with H1 and H2 like this helps create a hierarchy of the elements on your page. Let me also add a headline to this first one, just so we have a subhead here. Let's add the words Art Exhibit, and let's format this with an H2 as well. Part of the reason I'm doing this is because you often will want to have two similarly important pieces of text in two different sections of the page, but you may want them to look different even though they're both formatted with the H2. In a moment, I'll show you how to create styles for the H2 tags that will make the text look different depending on where it is on the page. But first, let's add some images to this design.